Hey everyone, this is Bradley Bush with another algebra video for you. Today we're talking about slope-intercept formula for the equation of a line. This is a famous formula in algebra. I think most people know it, so this should be a great video for you. If this is the first time to my channel, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, please consider subscribing. Slope-intercept form of a line. The slope-intercept form of a line passing through a point 0, b, which is the y-intercept, and with slope m can be written like this: y equals mx plus b. That's super, super famous. Maybe even people have tattoos of this. I wouldn't be surprised. People get tattoos of the strangest things. M is the slope, and this b is the y portion of the y-intercept, the y-coordinate, because the x-coordinate of the y-intercept is 0. This formula is actually super, super useful because it clearly gives you the slope and the y-intercept at a glance. There's no algebra that needs to be done. If your equation is in slope-intercept form, it gives you a whole bunch of information right out of the gate. So talking about slope-intercept, let's try to understand it just a little bit better. So if we just take y equals mx plus b over here on the left, I'm looking at this formula y equals mx plus b that I just circled in yellow. If we plugged in 0 for x, so plug in 0 for x, this whole first term goes away because it doesn't matter what m is. 0 times whatever m is 0. So we are just left with b, right? So we get 0b. That's where you get the y-intercept. And if you're wondering why x equals 0, why did I choose that? Well, on our graph here, we have this is x equals 1. Here we have this hash mark. This is x equals 2, and so on. So that means along the y-axis, that corresponds to x equals 0. So anywhere on the y-axis, x equals 0. So that means if we plugged in 0 for our function, out would come b, which is the y-intercept. And we don't know where exactly b is because we're just saying b, but let's give an example and maybe this is a little more concrete. So let's take y equals 2x plus 1. If I plug in 0, I get 0 times 2, which is 0. This whole term cancels out, and I just get 1. So 0, 1. So that means for us, this is x equal, or y equals 1. So here's the point. This is the point 0, 1. That's our x-intercept. And we could look at the slope. The slope is 2. So 2, if we're looking at slope, slope again is rise over run, right? So a slope of 2 would be the same as 2 over 1. So that means we're going up 2 and to the right 1. So if I just counted, if I'm just doing some counting here and I go up 2, so 1, 2, and over 1, there's my next point. And if I go up 2 more and over 1, there's another point. I can also go backwards, right? I can, because 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2 over 1 is the same thing as negative 2 over negative 1, because the negatives just cancel because there are 2 of them, right? So I can go back down. I can go negative down. I can go down 2, 1, 2, and then left 1, and there's another point, and then down 2, 1, 2, and I'm off my grid. But you can see it keeps going. So if you just have the y-intercept and you have the slope, you can easily draw the equation of a line by counting out the steps, finding another point, and then just connecting the dots. So the slope-intercept form of an equation of a line is super, super useful. You instantly see the slope and the y-intercept. But I have to caution you, it has to be in this form. You have to have solved for y, and everything else is on the other side. Otherwise, it's not in slope-intercept form, and you cannot instantly see slope and the y-intercept. So let's do another example. let's graph this line. F of x equals negative 3/2 x plus 2. So this is in slope-intercept form. We can say this equals y instead of f and get rid of the function notation we want. And there we see y equals mx plus b. So we can clearly see that this negative 3/2 is the slope. And what is the b? 2. So that means 0, 2 is our y-intercept. So 0, here's 0 for the x, and then 1, 2, we go up. So here we have our point, 0, 2. There's our y-intercept, and negative 3/2. So the negative can go with the top, with the 3, or with the 2, but not with both, because then it would cancel out and be gone. So it doesn't really matter. We'll just choose it to go with the top because it looks like it's leaning towards the top, but literally it doesn't matter. You can do it either way and you get the same answer. One takes you to the right of your starting point and one takes you to the left of your starting point, but you're still on the same line. So if we our rise, where that means negative 3, so we'll go down 3. 1, 2, 3. I went down 3, and I'm going to the right 2. 1, 2. So there we go. There's our negative 3/2. And we have another point. This point is at 1, 2, negative 1. So this is 2, negative 1. So now we have 2 points. We can get a ruler up here and draw a line through here. And if you're really good with your ruler skills, which I'm not sure I am, you can draw a line. There we go. There is our line, y equals negative, it's a pretty bad negative, negative 3/2 x plus 2. Not too horrible, right? Slope-intercept form is actually a super, super helpful form. It's probably my favorite of all the lines, equations for lines. Don't tell the other equations. I don't want them to be hurt. So example, here's another example. Rewrite the following equation in slope-intercept form. So currently it's not in slope-intercept form. It's in general form, but that's for another video. But if we wanted to get it into slope-intercept form, and by the way, I have slope-intercept form over here on the right, y equals mx plus b, I need to solve for y. So we need to solve for this term, the 6y. Where we have 3x plus 6y minus 12 equals 0. So let's solve for 6y. Let's start by taking 3x over to the other side. That's a good start because that gives us the 3x's cancel on the left. And we're left with 6y minus 12 equals negative 3x. And one more thing, we've got to get rid of the 12. So we add 12 to both sides. And we are left with 6y equals negative 3x plus 12. One last step. We need to divide by 6 because literally we've got to solve for y. That's what the form says we have to do. And the 6's cancel. This can be 1/2. The negative 3/6 changes to negative 1/2. And the 2/12 over 6 changes to 2 over 1, which is just 2. Which gives us y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. And there we go. We've solved this equation for y, and it is now in the slope-intercept form. So the slope is negative 1/2, and the intercept is 2. The y-intercept is 2. Let's do another one. Find the slope of the following equation. Well, can I just look at the x, the thing in front of the x, the number, and say, hey, the slope is 6? Tell me down in the comments if you think I should. I hope you did. And now you paused. Because I'm going to tell you right now that's not the way it works. because this equation is in general form. And if it isn't in slope-intercept form, remember slope-intercept form is over here on the right. I just boxed it in, or rectangled it in yellow, y equals mx plus b. We can't look at the thing in front of the x, the number in front of the x, unless it's in this form. That is actually super, super important. So I must solve for y first, and then look at to see what's in front of the x. So let's do that. So I subtract 6x on both sides. That cancels the 6 on the left and gives us negative 5y minus 20 equals negative 6x. And now I need to add 20 to both sides because we got to get rid of the 20 on the left. And now I have negative 5y equals negative 6x plus 20. Last step, divide by negative 5 everywhere. And we get 4 over 1, or negative 1, by the way. And the negative 5's cancel. The negatives cancel the x, so you just have 6 over 5. And I've solved for y. So I get y equals 6 over 5x minus 4. We have solved for y. So now we're in slope-intercept form, and we can read off the slope. So our slope then is a positive 6 over 5. So that means you're going 6 up and 5 to the right. If any questions, please let me know in the thread. All right, here's the last thing. This is a bonus. Find the equation of the line that passes through the point 1, 3 and has slope m equals 4. But do not use point slope formula. Most of the time when you come up with a problem like this, you are using the point slope formula. And if you're wondering what the point slope formula is, it's right here on the left. It's y minus y1 equals m times quantity x minus x1, where you just plug in the slope for m and you plug in your point with your y1 and your x1, and then you just simplify. Most of the time you solve for y. And then you have the equation of your line. That's generally how this is done. But you don't have to do it that way. You could use the slope-intercept formula, which I have here on the right. But just to show you that you can do both ways, let's quickly do the point slope formula, even though it tells us not to. Don't tell. I won't tell if you don't tell. Let's do y equals, or y minus, and we have 3 for our point. 4 is our slope, x minus the x1, which is 1. Now we have y minus 3 equals 4x minus 4. One more step, add 3 to both sides. And the 3's cancel on the left. And we get y equals 4x minus 1. All right. Do we have to do it that way? I don't know. Let's see. Let's use the slope-intercept formula to get the equation of the line. Because we have enough parts, right? We have the slope, right? We have m, that's given to us, it's 4. And we don't have b, but that is not a problem because we have everything else. Over here you can see we've got an x and a y, right? Do we have an x and a y? We actually do, because we have a point that was given us that we know is on the line that we're looking for. So if we know what's on the line, we could plug it in for x, we could plug in the 1 for x, the 3 in for y. We already have the m, which is 4, plug that in, and then we can solve for b. And once we have b, we just take b, plug it in for b, and then plug 4 in for m, and put the x and the y back in, and we're good. Let's do that. Kind of cool, huh? It's kind of an interesting way to use the slope-intercept formula. So we know that the point we have is 3, and we have equals, the slope is 4, and it's multiplied by the x value we have, which is 1, and then we have the plus b. Well, 4 times 1 is 4, equals 3 plus b. So we want to solve for b. If we subtract 4 on both sides, we get the 4 cancels on the right side with the -4, and 3 minus 4 is -1. So b equals -1. We have b. We already know what m is, so we literally can just write out the equation, right? We can literally write out y equals m is 4, because that was given in the problem statement. We have the x, and plus, and the b, -1. The plus and the minus just give us a negative, so we can just put 4x minus 1. And look at that. Same thing. You can get the same formula. Hopefully this was helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, please throw them into the comments. I would love to hear them. And hope you have a great day.